So you might be wondering why there's a red splash screen right there, and that's because for some reason Ninja Gaiden Sigma forgets to play the intro video from Ninja Gaiden Black. Sorry, Richard Doyle, your sweet narration was for naught.
Rip.
Yep. Gonna be introduced to the same cutscene again, although environment here is much different looking. It's clearly it's autumn at this time.
The water's gone too.
Yeah, the entire, like, this whole opening section is no longer like a waterfall, like going into a canyon or ravine. Also, we fight dudes right off the bat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a big change. Also, you might be noticing all those numbers, like, on the left side of the screen. That is the karma counter, and it is basically the main way you play for score in Ninja Gaiden. You have that thing on, you go into ranked battles, and you try and beat the part-time while getting points that you can. Also, we have, like, an actual background music, like, going on. You know, it's a bit less ambient than it was in Black, although, for what it's worth, in HD, like, this area still looks pretty good.
You still open chests in the most badass of ways.
Yeah, you still kick things open, doing it way before Kratos ever did.
They put a wall there that time, I think.
Yep.
Did that wall exist in Black?
The wall on the side?
Yeah.
Oh, that was added to this game. Like, I guess the idea by the designers was that they didn't want people to possibly, like, fall off that side and have to do the climb all over. So, guess a quick explanation of, like, what is being counted, like, for score, like what's being displayed with the karma counter, is that it basically tracks how many hits you do in a combo, how many enemies you kill, and whether or not you kill enemies within the allotted time. And being able to do that gets you 10,000 extra points.
Which is a pretty big deal.
Yes. So, one of the big things about this game is the use of ultimate techniques, and how you can use that to quickly speed up a battle. And there are two ways to do it. You can either hold the button and go through a lengthy charge-up process, or you can absorb the yellow essence around you and use that to instantly get a charge, like so. And this actually leads to one of the more interesting parts of a karma run. But first, an extra message.
Deflect your opponent's attacks by holding down the block button. You will not live long without a good defense.
Clearly, they felt that, like, players were not getting that message, like, at all in the first two versions, so they decided to make it, you know, extra clear. But the idea with this, with using essence to charge the techniques, is that if you hold down the block button, you can prevent the essence from being absorbed. It's like a reverse of, you know, absorbing orbs in Onimusha, where you had to hold down a button to absorb it. So this leads to the strategy of leaving essence behind in other rooms, and when you go into the next battle, you immediately absorb that essence from however far away it is, and just go to town on enemies.
Which, for some of those, like the fight that you had right outside of this temple, I guess?
Yeah.
Unless you were using that ultimate technique, it didn't look like you were going to make that time limit at all.
Pretty much, yeah, that's a big part of it, because, you know, this is already, even though this is what I call the second best version of Ninja Gaiden, this is technically the third. Like, obviously there was the original Ninja Gaiden in 2004, and Black was basically the rebalanced, like, upgraded re-release that included, like, the updated hard times for all these ranked encounters, designed with the knowledge that, you know, you should be making good use of essence in the environment to chain ultimate techniques together.
It was a pretty worthwhile rebalance. Some of the stuff in the original release was very abusable.
Oh yes, definitely. And there, you know, and Sigma holds pretty true to the spirit of Black in that it doesn't let you abuse certain moves quite as nearly as you would be able to in the very first game. But as you'll see kind of later on, there are some combat additions that they definitely changed things, like, kind of subtly, like, at first glance, but it means quite a big difference when you get real deep into it. Also, pay no attention to those extra 2 sword names that were just spoiled in that scroll. And this this is even another example of how just changing the order in which you get things in Sigma versus Black makes a big difference. Like, that scroll I picked up was for a move called the Flying Swallow. And I'll say it right now, in Ninja Gaiden Black, you won't be seeing that until at least Chapter 3.
Yeah, I don't think you could use that yet.
Nah, in fact, even because it doesn't show up in Black until a few chapters later, I forget to, like, demonstrate it heavily during this fight. Because I'm so used to, you know, having to upgrade my gear a little bit before I'm able to do so. And there you go.
You get a bit of a bonus for each time you use the ultimate technique, it looks like, too.
Definitely. That's a big part of it, and there's like 2 different point values that you get for it. Like for a 1 charge, which is actually called an enhanced technique, you get 2,000 points out of it, and it's generally faster but not as, you know, powerful. But of course, what you want to get is the actual ultimate technique, which is where you charge 2 yellow essence and get 500 points for it. That's the pretty cool thing about this game's scoring system compared to others. It's less about the combo ability, and it plays more to the strengths of this game's combat in that it's all about getting shit done. And this is, I think, the clearest example of a fight that you could not reasonably get the time bonus for had you not saved any essence in the previous area. Like, that time limit was super strict.
You barely had time for that animation to play.
Pretty much.
One thing that I can't remember about these is you get the ultimate technique for absorbing 2 of the essences. Does it matter does the blue one matter for that?
Oh, blue matters insofar as it counts as 2 yellow essence. So,
okay.
So like, if you get a blue essence, it's worthwhile, if you want to finish battles quickly and are good with health, to immediately put that into an ultimate technique. The reason why, like, it might not always show up, though, is because killing enemies with an ultimate techniques produces more yellow essence. So that's basically the trade-off. Like, if you're hurting for health, you either want to take your chances with the ultimate techniques, or you just want to play it safe and hope that the game, like, grants you mercy. Also, because this is on PS3, the save screen obviously pulls in the PS3 UI, and it's also significantly takes longer to save in this game compared to Black. So, you know, even if I wasn't already doing the cutting out save point stuff in Black, I would still cut it out of this game either way, just because it's an extra 5 seconds or so off my back. And we're already near the end of the chapter, only less than 10 minutes. Like, this is what Karma runs are like when you really focus. You get through shit super fast.
Part speedrun, part skill.
Pretty much, yeah.
I actually do kind of like the music changes that they've done. It's not as atmospheric, but it makes me think of like the old like kung fu movies and other action kind of stuff.
Yeah. For the music change in like rooms like this, I'm actually fine with it. Although I do actually lament the change in like background sounds and music when you first start the level. But I think that's just kind of because of also the change in the environment itself, the fact that it is way more vibrant and not as secluded.
I see you have made it this far.
And now we're back to Mirai, and this is obviously going to go just as fast, if not faster, than I did it for real in Ninja Gaiden Black.
Well, you still have a time limit for him.
Yeah, but even as you'll see once the time limit is shown, based on what I've been able to prove in the previous video, like, it's not a problem. Like, it's 1 minute and 40 seconds. Just doing most of the same strategies here. assuming I don't, you know, screw up and get, you know, hit into a full combo. And it's even more beneficial here just because, you know, because of the purpose of the story, you don't bring his health bar all the way down to 0, because obviously he has to live.
He gets a couple of good hits in every time he charges, too.
Yeah. And, you know, that's, like, that grab move, I didn't, like, mention it too much, like, in the Black video, but, you know, the fact that it very much, when you get hit or grabbed by that, you get that same sense of, like, kind of frustration and rage that you do, like, if you suddenly get grabbed, like, when you're playing a fighting game, especially Dead or Alive, since that's the most apt comparison. But that's the fight. And, you know, it's the same cutscene, but one thing that's changed is, you know, that's a different camera angle for Ayane, just because they actually moved the door that she comes out of.
So your father is still in the sacred wilderness.
Yes.
So they didn't just reuse all the old assets. They completely redid everything.
Never seems satisfied
Yeah.
with the power he wields.
Here's a question for you. What do you think of the voice acting for this game? Like, just like listening to like this exchange between Ryu and Mirai.
And what are the systems?
Mirai's decent. I like what Mirai's doing with his voice.
It remains in the village under the protection of my father's clan.
Ryu, not so much.
They will ensure that the sword
Yeah,
remains
he's
untouched.
that's definitely the hard part with like trying to like do Ryu's voice, because you know across all 3 games he's actually had a different voice actor, and I guess just the hard part with like giving him the direction is that they want him to be very stoic, but obviously like in this situation you kind of see that he ends up delivering his lines like super flat most of the time.
It's extremely deadpan.
Yeah, but I do kind of like it. Partly just because, you know, like this game did kind of like cement in my mind at an early age the idea of what I thought was cool for a ninja, which is like them being super dedicated to their job and like their main goal and like being no nonsense. But that's basically it. We'll have more to say like as more cutscenes show up. But for now, it's the end of the chapter. Got Mash the Ninja, because I wasted no time, unlike in the last video. Thanks for watching, and see you for Chapter 2 in both Ninja Gaiden Black and Sigma.
Later.